For me, I want to grow. I think most small businesses want to grow, but I want to do it in an honest way. I don't want to feel like I'm ever taking advantage of a customer. But I see that all the time. We come across customers that are getting taken advantage of by a lot of time IT vendors who are selling them things they do not need, extra protection that doesn't make sense, systems and services that don't make sense. I find a lot of IT vendors sell based on fear, and that's something I don't want to do.
Welcome back to the ROCC Pod. I'm John Gay from Jag and Detroit Podcasts.
I'm Lisa Bibby with Century 21 Northland.
Today we welcome Mark Frade from RJ Telecommunications. And Mark, before we talk business, I hear you secretly wanted to be a stand-up comedian. What's the story there?
Well, I've always liked comedy. I grew up watching different stand-up comedians, and I think a lot of people probably think they're pretty funny. I'm one of them. Don't know how well I would do. But here and there, I get to try it out, usually on family and friends, nothing too big. And I think that's as far as I'm going to take it. I don't think going on stage and doing that is something that I'll actually pursue, but the thought of it's nice,
Well, we're among friends here, so can you give us a little bit, something to make us laugh this morning?
I don't know if they're all safe enough for the ROCC Pod.
All right, let's get down to business, Mark. So it's a family company. Tell us how you got started with RJ Telecommunications, your history with the company, how you modernize it. Give us the backstory.
Okay, so the company started in 1996. I joined in 2004. I was working actually at Meijer with the original owner's daughter. And she came home complaining to him one time that me and her were the only hard workers at Meijer. So he's like, well, let me meet him. I need another technician. Went and met him, and he hired me. So I left Meijer, started working there at 17. That was 2004, and just started learning how to run cables, punch down jacks. Back then, it was phone systems that we were hanging on the wall, or big option switches for companies that had hundreds of users that we would maintain. And we did that for quite a while, but somewhere 2011, 2012, we started connecting these phone systems that are hanging on the wall together for different locations with VoIP.
And for anybody who doesn't know, that's voice over internet, right?
Yep,
That's
voice over internet
phone
protocol, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using the internet to connect phone systems so that locations can call each other without having to go through the traditional phone network. And that was saving some of our customers a lot of money. They had plants in Honduras and all these places where to buy phone lines down there and call back and forth, it was costing them a bunch of money. Well, Nortel went out of business in 2013. At that point, we decided to become an actual phone company and started converting all of our customers that had a Nortel system or something similar to VoIP. But then the software part, we kind of started developing ourselves. We've been developing and working on this phone software pretty much since 2013. Started doing that, converting customers, started selling fiber as well, wholesaling and managing networks. That kind of started in that as well. Because once we started putting phones on people's networks, dealing with either IT people or dealing with customers that didn't have IT people, to now introduce phone traffic onto it, because they're used to phones separate cables, separate everything. Now we're sharing a switch, we're sharing cabling. So just in that, we started managing networks and then providing internet, kind of just snowballed. So providing hardware and the service at the same time. Now we're not just a hardware vendor and maintenance, we're a hardware vendor, maintenance, and service.
Is it just telecom, VoIP, phone stuff you do, or is it also IT?
2017, I became part owner, and that is when we started getting into selling fiber, managing networks. But now, yes, we're an MSP, we do IT. So we still do cabling, we still put in business phone systems and services, still manage networks, put in Wi-Fi and all of that. And then we also do full-blown IT, cybersecurity. So now we kind of do it all.
That makes sense. Okay.
So Mark, you had mentioned that you work with family, and I'm curious how you navigate working with family. I know this could be tricky for some of us.
Actually, it's not that hard. It's actually easier for me to work with family sometimes than not. So one of the family members is my daughter. So that's pretty easy. She's 14, and she's not really going to cause me more trouble than she's already causing me being a teenager.
Give her 2 years.
Yeah, I know. But the other family member that is here is my older cousin. Obviously, known her since I was little. She babysat me. I like to say she she changed my diapers, and now she's working here with me. But it's someone that I've been able to trust and rely on throughout my life. So having her here working at the company, part of the reason why bringing her in was important was as we grew, I kind of had to like delegate tasks off to different people. And the biggest thing for me is customer service, making sure the customer is taken care of. Before we started to grow, people got a hold of me. I was going on site. I was making sure they were taken care of, and they trusted me. So to have someone come in and take over that role, it had to be someone that I trusted. And she does a great job of making sure the customer is taken care of. Kind of took that over without me having to worry too much because I know her work ethic, I know her morals, and I know that she's not going to ever leave a customer hanging. So that was actually an easy part, having a family member come in and take over that. Now, I've heard of horror stories, and I just think I will avoid hiring family members that are going to cause me issues like that.
I like that full circle story with your cousin where she changed your diapers and now you're cutting her paycheck.
Yep, pretty much.
It also speaks to the honest business practices, and what seems to be a pretty strong selling point and strong tenet of your business is honest business practices, and because that can be kind of tricky in this industry.
That is something that I'm really trying to figure out, because for me, I want to grow. I think most small businesses want to grow, but I want to do it in an honest way. I don't want to feel like I'm ever taking advantage of a customer. But I see that all the time. We come across customers that are getting taken advantage of by a lot of time IT vendors who are selling them things they do not need, extra protection that doesn't make sense, systems and services that don't make sense. I find a lot of IT vendors sell based on fear, and that's something I don't want to do. And sometimes it can be difficult when you're someone who's trying to be honest and give just what the customer needs and kind of give an honest perspective. That's coming up against someone who is telling them, well, you need this, you might get hacked, this might happen, that might happen, this might happen.
Fear-based almost.
Yes, it is very fear-based. And for us, there's a lot of practical ways that don't cost a lot of money that you can make sure that your office, your staff, your equipment, your servers are secure. Very practical ways. And it doesn't involve spending thousands of dollars a month, depending on your size. There's an electrical company that he was spending almost 20 grand a month just because he didn't know what he didn't know. And it was just astonishing that people get away with that. So I do want to grow, but I want to do it honestly, and I want to do it fair. And I always say, like, I'm a small business. So when I look at another small business, it's hard for me to try to take advantage of them because I know the position I'm in, making sure payroll is taken care of, making sure bills are paid, and other small businesses have to be going through the same thing. Why would I want to take advantage of them and make it harder for them to grow?
So, Mark, I love having somebody that you can trust in this industry because, I'm not that techie of a person. So being able to really trust those questions are going to be answered honestly is priceless. So, Mark, talk to us a little bit about what your future goals are.
So we've been doing phones for the longest time, but the newest thing that we've been growing into for the last year and a half, 2 years is IT. So we've been kind of pushing and growing in that industry, learning what people are used to and how we want to approach in a little bit different way. And there are definitely honest IT people out there. And when I meet one, I'm just like, hey, I'm glad you're doing that. I think there's enough space for everyone. So as far as goals, really looking to grow in the IT field, but in an honest way. I want to get RJ to a certain point where I can be mostly just operations guidance and kind of sales, kind of steer the ship, but have everyone in place that can take care of the daily operations. And slowly we've been getting there. 2 years ago, when I took over the company and bought it outright from the original owner, there was 3 of us. Now there's 9 of us. Mm-hmm. So every time I hire someone on, they're taking a piece of me and having to run that part. So like I said, older cousin came on, took over the customer service, project management side of things. I have someone that handles the phone back end and all of that. I have someone that handles our data center stuff. So every time I hire someone, someone's taking on a little piece of what I was doing. And I want to get to the point where I have all those roles filled and everyone's doing a good job keeping our customer service first attitude and just be out there. I want to do more networking. I want to do more events. Like I want to help the community if I can, give back. But I got to get the business to a certain point and then I'll be able to do more than that. And I definitely want to do some things in real estate and things like that. But my main focus right now is getting RJ to a really good point.
Wait, my ears are perking up. Did you say real estate?
I did. Yes. Yes.
I can hear that from across the room. But
I think everybody says like, "Hey, I want to do real estate," but I don't want to be a real estate agent. I don't want to.
You want to invest?
Yes, I want to invest. I did flip a home. Quick story: I was working at RJ. I flipped a home, made a decent amount of money on it. I left RJ, took that money, opened a sandwich shop. Sandwich shop failed, which a lot of restaurants do, which is fine. It was a great learning experience. I wouldn't take that back. And then decided, okay, what do I want to do? I could go back to RJ, or I can go do some roles that I always wanted to do. One of them was I always wanted to run a video store. So I went and actually managed a family video for a while. And then eventually made my way back to RJ. And that's when I became part owner and kind of dug my heels in and we started to grow to where we are now. But definitely want to get to where I can purchase at least a few homes to have a little bit of additional income outside of RJ.
You're looking for long-term rentals or short-term rentals? Okay.
Long-term.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, I'm here to help when you need.
You two have to connect.
All right. Well,
after
then
this
we should
podcast.
definitely connect at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lisa and I were taking a peek at your website before we hopped on here, and you mentioned security cameras on your website. Do you have a recommendation on security cameras or how to evaluate what security system your business best needs?
It's not something that we do a ton of, but we have done security cameras, and it's always based on what type of business is it, what are they looking for. So we've done, ones where they want inside, outside cameras. They need a camera on a drive-through. They want, 4 cameras on the register, that kind of thing. Or you just want one camera on the door. Like in our office, we just have one camera on the door so we can see who's coming in and out. And we're in a shared building, so like if maintenance is coming in and out, we can see that. So as far as recommendation, it's really, we'll conduct a site survey, kind of go over different options, and we'll try to fit into whatever their budget is. So you can spend $1,500 a camera and get the clearest 4K image like you're watching a movie every time you play back your security cameras. But is that something that you need? In some cases it is. Some cases you want to see what bill is getting put into the register.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to pay for that, that can be done. But if that's not if you just want to see who's coming and going, you want to look on your phone and see, did my closer close the building up right? Is there anybody in the parking lot? That kind of thing. We can get that done on a cheaper budget than, $1,500, $2,000 a camera. So it really just comes down to sitting with the customer, doing a site survey, finding out what they actually need and what they want and what they can afford.
Well, Mark, John and I have been long-term members of the Royal Oak Chamber and wanted to find out from you, what has your experience been since you've joined the Chamber?
It's a very fun chamber to be a part of.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm a part of a few other chambers. The Royal Oak Chamber is definitely one of the funner ones. All the events seem to be pretty live and active, and it's a great community to be a part of, and it's one that we definitely want to renew when it comes up every year. We've enjoyed the events that we've done, and the different events within downtown Royal Oak. It was always fun, and we've met some cool people there.
I know from coming to some of these coffees, I always see you and Emily at the coffees, and it's always nice to reconnect with you guys and say hi whenever you're there. And it really is just a fun group and getting to know each other in that big circle, and the staff really does such a great job.
Yeah, they do.
All right, it is now time for our Fishbowl question of the day.
Oh boy.
So we're going to ask you a totally random question. Lisa, would you pull today's random question?
So if there was a movie about your life, who would play you? Well,
I always get told that there's an actor that looks a lot like me. His name was Donald Faison, I think. Denzel's too old at this point, so I guess it wouldn't be him. But I think that would probably be the actor that would look most like me. And I've seen him in things, and he could probably pull it off.
Oh my gosh, he does look... That's uncanny.
Lisa and I are Googling him right now. We're going to have some link to either his Wikipedia or his IMDb in the show notes here. That's okay. Yeah, I totally see it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So I think that would have to be it.
Yes, we'll have to get him.
Terrific. Well, Mark, if folks need help with their IT services, particularly when it comes to the telecom stuff, but really anything with IT, as you mentioned, you're an MSP, managed service provider, how do they best find you at RJ Telecommunications?
So they can find us at rj10.com. They can look over all the different things that we can do. They can give us a call 248-442-2100. We have an Instagram, we have a LinkedIn, and we can be found on any of those platforms.
I like that your URL for your website is binary, 10 after the RJ.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Well, someone's asked me the other day, why RJ10? I was like, well, because it's 4 characters, and it's way easier to say that versus email me at rjtelecommunications.com. I think some people will give up halfway through typing that out and go, I'll just find someone else. So
I love it. Smart man. There you go.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Mark, so much for being on our show. My name is Lisa Bibby, and I'm a realtor with Century 21 Northland. I put the real back in realtor. We want you to love where you live. Questions about buying or selling your home? Call my cell at 248-981-3610. My website is soldbylisab.com, and you can find me on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at soldbylisa. Let's connect.
And I'm John Gay from Jag in Detroit Podcast. The 2025 data about podcasting is out, and more Americans are consuming podcasts daily, weekly, and monthly. If starting a podcast has been on your to-do list and you need help, you can find me at jagindetroit.com or on social at jagindetroit. Thank you for checking out this episode of the ROCC Pod. It's produced for the Royal Oak, Michigan Chamber of Commerce. To find out more about the Chamber, events, and how to get involved, you can visit royaloakchamber.com. Thanks, everyone.